This is one of those moments where I think I might have messed up. I just know where he's bedded and where I normally would drive in. I don't know where he's bedded, where I think he's bedding. Where I normally would drive in, I think I would screw the pooch. So instead, I'm driving through my entire farm, betting on that this deer is in a specific spot, which he might not be. So this is either going to be the great decision, and it was like I knew all along I was doing the right thing, or I blow the whole farm and then nothing daylights for a long time. I guess we're going to find out. So here we go.
You're probably wondering why we call this buck Bruiser. Well, he's an extremely aggressive deer who loves to fight. But to tell his story properly, we need to go back 3 years ago to 2020. This is when Bruiser first popped up on my radar as a 3-year-old. He was a very impressive 8-pointer with huge, distinct brow tines. With him so young, we obviously gave him a pass and hunted other deer. And that year, I was fortunate enough to harvest 2 ancient deer that were both over 10 years old. Now fast forward to 2021, Bruiser is now 4 years old and went from a big 8 to now a better 9. And you can see on his left brow, he just started to have a tiny split. But of course, with him only being 4 years old, he was getting a pass again. Fortunately, in 2021, I had a season of a lifetime, harvesting 2 100% wild, free-ranging 200-inch whitetails. And then on October 21st, I harvested Dozer, the heaviest whitetail I've ever seen. Weighing in at a whopping 291 pounds. Now let's fast forward to last year, 2022, when Bruiser turned 5 years old. From 4 to 5, this buck blew into something very special. He was no longer a spindly 9-pointer. He grew into a mainframe 5x6 with a split on his brow, making him a beast of a 12-point. But by November 3rd, he broke nearly every tine off of his head. And this is why we call him Bruiser. Regardless of him breaking everything off, I knew this buck was a buck that just needed one more year. He had the potential to blow into an absolute freak monster. His jump from 4 to 5 was so impressive. I wanted to take a chance and see if he'd make another jump from 5 to 6. So again, Bruiser gets a pass. This is when I became determined to unravel the patterns of Bruiser. If I waited to see if he survived the winter or blew into a giant, it would be too late. I had to figure everything out now, just in case strategies or changes needed to be made before the following season. As I reviewed the collection of photos and data I had on Bruiser, a startling truth suddenly dawned on me. I rarely ever got any daytime photos of him. I also never got any photos of him before mid-October. This was not a good sign. The infrequency of daylight pictures usually means you're not positioned anywhere near their bedding areas. So this was a piece of the puzzle I needed to figure out. I began reverse engineering all the photos I've collected over the years, taking notes on weather conditions, pressure systems, moon phases, and of course wind directions. Analyzing all this data allows me to gain insight into this specific deer's habits and tendencies. It reveals valuable information regarding his potential bedding locations and behaviors. After going through all the photos, I felt I had a pretty good idea where this deer was bedding. The problem was, where he was bedding, I didn't have any food sources near there, or any stands for that matter. But I was still motivated by these findings, so I embarked on developing a well thought out plan for this upcoming season. First and foremost, I aimed to establish a strategically positioned food plot right near where I believe this deer was bedding. I wanted to create a long, skinny micro plot which won't hold a bunch of food, but would be a great place for a buck to come hit before heading into the big ag fields after dark. Winter finally ended and summer finally arrived. The long-awaited moment to put this well-devised plan into action was here. It was time to get to work. I decided I would place the blind right here on top of the hill where my access is best. Also, any north winds or east winds, I'd be safe from getting busted.
All right, everything you see behind me here looks like complete dog crap. I get it. What I see the future of this spot being is one of the most epic spots on the farm. You want to make this the hottest spot on the farm to make a scrape. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna get all this mowed down, and then 10 days from now, we'll come in and spray it, and then come August, we will plant it. And then what you see right here will be transformed into something absolutely, totally different and totally beautiful.
After looking at the topography of the land, I realized there was no convenient close water sources. So I thought it would be best to add in a watering hole.
Well, that was a lot of work, but we got it done. I put the camera over this watering hole. They may not come and get a drink, but they may walk by it on this now easier to walk section. And then right behind this watering hole, I'll put a scrape right here. Now I'll get the scrape, which if the deer hit here, I'll get them on camera. If they're walking on this flat spot, I'll get them on camera. And if they hit this watering hole, I'll get them on camera. This is important that you take this in consideration. You want to get as many reasons for that deer to trigger that camera as possible, because you can't run 500 cameras and cover every square inch of your farm. A lot of tips that you can pull from what I just said and apply in your own scenarios. The reality of it is, you can't kill a big deer that you can't find.
Again, we're doing all of this without knowing if Bruiser survived gun season or the harsh winter, let alone if he fulfilled his potential and grew into a giant at 6.5. When it comes to whitetails, you must always be proactive rather than reactive. Waiting until confirmation would only result in missed opportunities and regret. Once all the work was done and the food plot was created, the only thing we could do now was wait and see if he shows up. So all summer we ran cameras and never saw any sign of him, which again was expected. So I hunted a 6.5-year-old giant I called Showtime. Fortunately, I would score on this giant 194-inch Iowa beast on October 6th. After harvesting Showtime, the only deer I could think about was Bruiser. I checked cameras day in and day out waiting for him to show. I reached out to all my neighbors and asked if they'd seen him, and everyone said no, so I just needed to wait. Only 5 days later, my phone dinged with a video from the farm. When I opened my phone, I couldn't believe my eyes. It was Bruiser, and he blew into an absolute freak. He had points going everywhere, giant long beams, and the craziest set of brow tines I had ever seen. But unfortunately, he had already busted off his G3. I knew I would have to get on him quick if I wanted any chance of getting him before he broke off more tines. But this was nowhere near daylight, and this was not in the new food plot I put in. This was in a plot clear on the other side of the farm, far away from where I thought he was bedding. But the following day, when I checked cameras, I was so excited to see Bruiser hit the new food plot and watering hole I put in. The plan and hard work was proving to be worthwhile, and seeing my carefully crafted plan come together was incredibly rewarding. Then I noticed within one day he had already broke off another G2. Well, Bruiser was living up to his name. I knew if I didn't get on him quick, he wouldn't have a tine left on his head in a very short period of time. Though he was nowhere near daylight, I felt really good about hunting him on the 13th. After he hit that watering hole, he went over and hit my mock scrape. You see, in early hours on the 13th, we got some light rain. This was key. And then again, during the middle of the day, we got another rain shower. This was huge. After a rain, bucks love hitting their scrapes. The rain washes away their scent, so they need to replenish it. Plus, moisture holds more scent. So when they do work the scrape again after a rain, their scent will be more pungent and last longer. So after a rain is some of the best times to kill your biggest bucks if you know where his scrapes are. Even though he hasn't daylighted on my farm at all, it was still going to be worth hunting. If he's bedding where I think he is, this could be the closest scrape to him. So the second he gets out of his bed, he may want to come and rework this scrape he just hit prior to the rain. So we loaded up the truck and hit the road to go sit for Bruiser in the new food plot.
They just think we're a piece of farm equipment. Nothing to see here. She's not running. If we were walking down here, dude, it would have been an absolute disaster. Okay, that's a good sign. We just passed the doe and she didn't run. So this time of year is the time of year where I do risk the biscuit with access with vehicles, because they're so used to farmers driving in and out, getting the crops out, the combines, all the vehicles. They're just a little more tolerant, you know, until about November. And then that all goes out the window, obviously. But yeah, I mean, we may have made the right call. It's just in general, this is a bad night. On paper, it's bad. Barometric pressure's not high. The cold front doesn't come till tomorrow. But the day before a cold front with rising pressure can be really good. The pressure does start to rise around 6 o'clock. So this buck that we're hunting, he's never daylighted, ever, on my farm. I say this a lot. I don't want to be here after he daylights. I want to be here when he daylights. So we are going to see if we can't make a dream come true of me killing the second buck this year. So we're going in. We're going to sit for this big giant. See if we can't get him. Let's get dressed.
The odds are not in our favor that he's going to daylight, but I say this time and time again. I don't want to be here after they daylight. I want to be here when they daylight. And I want to sit here and tell you that the weather's perfect, the barometric pressure is climbing, and this big cold front moved in, and the deer are going to be, he's going to be on his feet. That's just not the case. There's a doe at like 6 yards. She's not impressed with our program. She got something, so what she's doing when she stops like that, she's pressing her interdigital gland into the ground, so if another deer comes out, he'll stop right there and know there's danger. It's bad. These deer communicate at levels that we just can't even comprehend. So, what we don't want her to do is blow. If she blows, the jig's up. And we've had a lot of deer move right through. There's even a deer right there at 3 yards. Something. She just got something. All it takes is one molecule, that's it. Anyway, like I was saying, this buck does not daylight. But, and I was telling you, I want to say this big cold front is here and the pressure's rising. It's November 1st, anything could happen, but it's just not. We're right in the middle of the October lull. It's October 13th. The weather is not that cold. The pressure has been really low, but right at 6 o'clock it starts to climb. We have a huge cold front coming tomorrow. So sometimes right before a big weather front, these deer get on their feet. We had rain yesterday, which is also huge. So it just naturally kind of cools everything down. We got a watering hole in front of us that from that rain held a little bit of water. So we might come and get a drink. The food plot does not look great. This is the first year of it. There is enough food, it looks like, here to where they're still eating, but they're mostly just passing through to the bigger grain fields. I'll tell you, every single year I work the same amount of time, hours, and effort. I just work my fingers to the bone because you just never know what kind of chances you're going to get. When this deer shows up, it's too late to put this food plot in, it's too late to put the blind here, it's too late to do all the prep work that you need to do. And you just don't know where that deer's going to show up. You don't know what farm that deer's going to be on. You don't know all these things, so you got to set every spot up like you're going to shoot a 200 there. And it takes a lot of work and effort, and I tell you, it wears me out. And there's no guarantee, but it seems like every single year the hard work pays off. And I'm sure there's going to be years where it doesn't, but man, the good Lord hasn't let me down yet. And so it's nice to know the hard work that we put in all summer long and for years on this farm is paying off. So I think we'll know if he steps in the field and we get a good look at him. I think we'll know right away, just how special he really is. But I'm not too concerned about the score because he's old, he's mature, and I want to shoot him. So let's just hope we get an opportunity at the buck that doesn't walk in the daylight. There's another deer. These does keep looking back in the dimmer to our left. They're seeing something or they're hearing something. That's exciting. It might be another deer. It could be our big boy, it could be a doe, it could be a raccoon. That's the exciting part about this, is just the unknown. This is just wild. This night has been unbelievable. On paper, tonight should not be a good night. It's not overly cold. The pressure system doesn't start rising until now. And the deer have just been on their feet. I mean, my God, we've seen probably 15, 20 deer. Oh, man, I'm nervous. This buck just does not walk in the daylight. He hit this watering hole last night. He hit this scrape multiple times. We still got to get him, to come out here in daylight. But at least I know we got a chance. And somewhere out there, right now, he's probably chewing his cud in his bed with all those brow tines everywhere, that massive, giant monster frame, and he's thinking where he's gonna go. And I hope right now he's thinking about coming here. Oh, this is, what deer hunting's all about for me. Just the chess match back and forth of figuring out a 6 or 7 year old whitetail. I just want to see him, I've never seen him. All the times I've hunted on this farm, never seen him. And it would just be so cool to see him in person. So, wish me luck. Dude, it's freaking him. Okay. We got a problem. Because, I can't believe he's here, but this doe is going to get downwind. So I can't open this up. What a giant. Okay. So we got to wait till these deer move on. Let's just hope he stays there for a minute. What a freaking beast. It's the first time I've ever seen him in real life. Okay. Just... we gotta just try. They're quartering away. There we go. Oh, I smoked it. I just smoked a freaking giant brown buck, baby. Listen. He's down. He's down. He went down in 15 seconds. Yes. Oh my God, boys. We freaking did it. There we go. I smoked it. Oh my God. So much effort went into this. That deer is never daylighted this year, ever. And We just smoked him in my mock scrape that I put in August. I put that mock scrape there, and he was in the scrape. I smashed him at 30 yards with the beast broadhead, and he was dead in less than 30 seconds. I'm just blown away right now. This is freaking unbelievable. I gotta call my biggest fan and tell her, honey, I freaking smoked him. I just shot him. I shot the giant buck.
Oh my gosh.
Is that not amazing?
Oh, that's so awesome.
I know, honey. I'm tagged out in Iowa.
Yeah, lucky you. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy for you.
Thanks, honey. Thank you. I'm beyond grateful and proud, and we're gonna get down and go get our hands on him before it gets dark.
Okay.
All right, love you.
Love you. Bye.
Super sweet moment for me right now, guys. Heck, that trail camera might even caught it on camera. I mean, he was right here in my mock scrape. This is so amazing. Oh, there's my arrow. Oh, it's just perfect. All right, let's check the broadhead integrity. It's still perfect and still really sharp, but I'll go ahead and close it. Still works perfect. All right, let's go. I heard him crash. We'll get the lights and get the blood trail and all that later, but I just want to go get my hands on him.
I'm beyond proud of my shot, but I am embarrassed to say I forgot my lights. So we quickly looked for him without looking for blood before we lost light, but it got dark on us fast. So we had to head back and go get our lights. Of course, as we're driving to get the lights, it started raining on us. A little fear swept in, but hearing him crash within seconds, I knew he couldn't be far. After getting back, we immediately started on the blood trail, and we could still follow it despite all the rain.
Well, we let it get dark, gave him plenty of time, and he was in this scrape right here, which is so cool that I made this back in August, and he was just working it. But I think that beast broadhead opened him up so big that we should be able to find blood even though it's raining. So let's see what we can find on the trail. Oh yeah, there's blood right here. Okay, so he started bleeding like right away. It's a good sign he started bleeding right away though. Right here, you can see, even though it's raining, you know, we're finding it. Yeah, right here. Look at this. It looks like he like went up here. Oh yeah, right here's blood. I'm just gonna go to the edge of the beans, see if we can't find any blood in the beans. Dude, I got blood right here. Dude, he went right through here. There he is, dude. Oh, we got him, buddy. Oh my gosh. We freaking got him. He's a moose. What a giant. Oh, he's what a giant. Look at that beast. I mean, he was dead within 15 seconds. Good Lord. First things first, let's get my tag on him. Here it is. Oh, I'll tell you, this is a beautiful moment right here. Punching my tag. Wow. Oh my gosh, he's got so much mass too. This is such a cool deer. Holy crap. He's got a lot of mass. Like a lot. Like the tag barely fits around him. Oh my gosh. Wow. Look at this thing. He's just so huge. I'm just blown away. He's got crazy long beams. I mean, he's all busted up. I mean, my God, this guy loves to fight. I mean, he broke off a minimum of probably a 11 plus inch tine. He broke off a G2 right here, which based on this length, if it was the same size, I mean, another 10 inches, so he's probably 20 inches short. But my God,
He's old. Big 6-year-old buck we passed. And you know, this is the first time he's broken daylight on the farm. And guys, this is where, you know, I'm just so grateful to have a dad and a grandpa that taught me so much woodsmanship when it comes to chasing big bucks. You know, you can't always be following where the deer has been and hope he shows up there twice, because a lot of times these really big old deer, they just don't do the same thing over and over and over again. They don't get that big by having that kind of mannerisms. And by having a dad, you know, that taught me so much growing up, my grandpa, and I mean, just teaching you the behaviors of the deer and taking all this in consideration whenever you're about to make a decision on where to sit. My God, what a beast.
I couldn't be more grateful for this absolute Iowa giant. Even with all of his busted tines, he taped out at a whopping 183 5/8 inches. But if he didn't break off between 14.5 and 16.5 inches, he would have taped out at 198 to 200 inches. Just an incredible deer I'm beyond proud of, and couldn't be more grateful to harvest my 8th 100% wild free-ranging deer over 190 since 2018. All on my own ground, all with a bow. As always, we appreciate your support and would be greatly appreciative if you hit that like and subscribe button. We'll see you in the next video.